Hi, welcome back to Built Not Bought by Bruce. So I just wanted to recap what we did with the rear end and making the repairs to the frame, getting it mounted in there again. I've still got work to do on the rear end. I have to do the rear brakes, I have to pull the diff cover off, change the oil, just make sure everything's good in there, get some new universals in the drive shaft, stuff like that. But the part of the project that I really was concerned about, that was probably most challenging to me, I'm really happy with the result, with the repairs. I think it's going to be just fine. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the gimbal on the camera here. I'm going to take you for a little tour while I have the truck up in the air, just show you how everything turned out there. We've got some pieces painted and stuff like that now. Got some new bushings. Big shout out to Standens here in Calgary. Man, Steve at the counter was unbelievable. He searched for probably 45 minutes to come up with bushings for the rear shackles. As it turned out, there were 2 bags of 4 left somewhere in Edmonton that he was able to secure for me. Like I say, probably spent 45 minutes on it, had them shipped in, everything else, and the total for 2 sets of 4 bushings was a whopping $54 with shipping and stuff. So really pleased. Big shout out to those guys and to Steve for helping me out. Really appreciate it. So everything's good and tight in the back there now. Alfred and I are happy with the way it's worked out. I'm going to show you around the back quickly. Then I'm going to put the truck down and just let you see it sitting on the ground. Very happy with the ride height. You know, and everything we've done. And I said, this is just a shop truck. You know what, if the body on this thing turns out really good, I ordered repair panels today. If everything goes really well on it, you know, someday down the road, maybe this thing gets a 4-link rear end or something trick and hot rodded and hopped up and all that kind of stuff. But for now, I just really want to stick with the original suspension, the original pieces, and just have a good little shop truck for running around. Just keep it simple. So that's what we're going to try and do for now. Let me set the camera up on the gimbal. I'll be back to you here right away and we'll show you how the rear end worked out. I finished up the welding on these new spring mounts, and I'm pretty happy with the way the whole thing went together. So looking at the passenger side, I'm just going to do some painting and undercoating here and get this ready to go in. But looking at the passenger side, that's front on what it looks like. And then if we move around here, that's what we have. You can see what I did back here. I wanted to strengthen that rear mount. So I kind of put I don't know what you call that, a strengthener, a gusset across the top there. I think that's going to make that plenty strong. Welded it, tacked it on the bottom, as well as tacking it on the front there, so it looks pretty good. This is the side that the frame is much better on, so I didn't have to get as elaborate with the piece that goes up there. It just sits on the outside of the frame and bolts to it, of course, but it doesn't go right around the frame rail. Looking at the driver's side, the bracket that goes onto the frame is a little more elaborate. You can see it comes up the back side. That was to cover up some corrosion, a rust hole in the frame. So I wanted to strengthen that, make sure it was good. This side's a little bit longer than the other side as well to get a little more strength. But you can see I've done the same thing with the spring mount here, ran that gusset across the top. It mounted up real nice. I may have mentioned in another video here that wheelbase on this truck is supposed to be 90 inches. When we had this sitting in the other night, we measured 89 3/4, and that wasn't with all the weight on. So I think possibly we'll be right on that 90. We're certainly close enough that we're not going to worry about it. Looking at this side again, tack the the mount on at the front. You can see the way I welded the box to the side. I fully welded that for lots of strength there. So we're just about ready here now. As I say, I'm going to do some painting and undercoating. We're going to get this ready to go in, and hopefully Alfred and I will put this in this afternoon. All right, we'll be back to you soon. All right, so here's how things turned out. So the front leaf spring perch, I think you can remember, or you can look back on the video and see how rotted out it was and everything. The only thing that we haven't done here, and I'm just going to grab that light so I can show you a bit more about this. So the only thing we haven't done yet is tied this into the outer panel. And the reason I haven't done that yet, let's see if I can get you a good angle on that. The reason I haven't done that yet is I'm planning to trim this panel. Part of what happens with these old Econolines, let me see if I can just show you this. So part of what happens here with this panel is the outer skin comes down, the outer skin comes down, meets this panel, they weld it here, and for wherever it comes from, it gets dirt and water that gets trapped right down in the base here. And that's how these start rusting so badly, is you get all that dirt and moisture trapped down in there. The solution that I'm going to use, I hope it's a solution, is I'm going to cut this panel just under where that box section hits. And I'm going to cut it all the way along here. So then I'll build from the new outer skin, which has this contour on the bottom for strength. What I'll do is I'm going to make some supports to go up, I don't know if you can see my finger there, to go from here up to the floor of the box. I think it's probably the best bet. I might even go up to this channel just to see how that works out. But I'll run supports. The idea is I'm going to keep this wide open so that when you're washing behind here, everything just washes out and runs away. You don't have a whole bunch of dirt and moisture getting trapped in there. So once we've cut the outer skin off to put the new panel on there, and once we've trimmed this, it's going to be much easier to do a little bit of welding. Probably just put a plate across the end of this box and then bolt it to this panel, and the reason I want to do that is that maintains all of that being bolted in so it can be removed down the road. So that's kind of the plan there. Anyway, back to what I'm trying to show you. So this mount now I think looks pretty good. You can see we got clearance up there at the floor. You know, spring is fine, everything's good, everything's square. I've checked it a couple of times, looked it over pretty good, and I think we're okay. And with the paint on it and stuff, I don't see any problem. You know, a shop doing a safety on it shouldn't have any issues with any of that. We bought some new shocks for it and put our new shocks on. I'm just going to get repositioned to show you what I did at the back. New shocks. You can see those nice blue shocks. You can see that rear shackle. The problem back here was that the spring had hit the bottom of that frame piece. I'm just going to adjust the camera again. The spring had hit the bottom of that frame piece and had dented it, and there was corrosion and stuff. But what's important to note here is once I dug it out and got in there, the actual mount in the frame, the shackle, for the shackle bushings, that mount is a much heavier material and is tied into the box floor. So really what was back here was pretty much cosmetic. which was a good thing because it meant that I could come up with a solution. So what I did, I'm just going to see if I can get you in there. Yeah, there we go. Getting some shadows, but that's okay. So what I did is I just made a U-shaped or a channel section to go in there. On the bottom here, I used a 1/8" plate to make that bottom piece. The sides are 16 gauge, and just made a cap to go over that to clean it up and you know, give it a little bit of strength, hold it together. But as I say, this, I don't know if you can see it, but where this shackle mount is, this piece in here is very, very substantial. It's much heavier than this actual frame was, and it's a U section, and it's tied into the floor. So I'm not worried about strength in the back end there. Just to give you an idea, see if I can give you a shot of the back end here. So that's how it turned out. Everything is in, everything is square. Wheelbase is 90 inches, exactly what Ford says it's supposed to be. So all in all, real good. Now we'll be able to start on brakes, brake lines, all that kind of stuff. We'll get that all cleaned up and done. So I'm going to let the truck down just so I can show you a little bit more here. I'll show you the ride height. And then for now we have wrapped up the rear end, and we'll move on to doing the cab floor. All right, back in a second. So there we go, back on the ground, and I know it's a little funny with the GoPro, but it might be the best I can do. I might take just a static shot for you to show you the ride height, but that's what it looks like. Very happy with the way it sits. Wheels are centered in the wheel openings. Everything looks good. Side to side, it's good. And the suspension works nice and free. Everything is just fine there. So that wraps up the rear end. Next, we're on to the floor. All right, see you soon.